Hey, how's it going, everyone? Nathan here from the eBook Reader blog. For this video, I'm going to do a quick comparison between the Kobo Clara 2E and the Kobo Libra 2. So this is a pretty easy comparison. It basically comes down to what you see right before you, the difference in size, the difference in design. So I tried to match up the font types on here. I got the same line spacing, margin settings, the same font type. So we can try to get a good comparison of how the text lays out on both pages. And I also currently have the front lights turned off on both of these. We'll compare the front lights here after a bit, but first let's talk about like the design and hardware differences. That's the biggest thing here, is just the design difference. With the Clara 2E, it's a lot more narrow, more pocketable. It's got the 6-inch ink screen. The Libra 2 has a 7-inch ink screen. It's got the handle side here with the buttons, and the handle side flares up, as you can see. It gets a little bit thicker on that side of the device, where it's thinner on the left side, and the Clara is just a little bit thicker than it is on that side. They both have the USB-C ports. They both are waterproof, so a lot of overlapping features here. Both have 1 gigahertz processor. So the Clara 2E does have 16 gigabytes of storage. The Libra 2 has 32 gigabytes, so that's one difference. And the Clara also has dual band Wi-Fi support, where the Libra does not. It just has a single band support. So not a lot of differences as far as the hardware goes. It just mostly comes down to the design here. So obviously the Libra 2 is a lot wider with the handle side there and the larger screen. So the Clara definitely has the advantage with the portability factor, a little bit easier to stick in a pocket or something to take with you. But, it just kind of comes down to personal preference, if you want page buttons or not, if you want the 6-inch screen or the 7-inch screen. So let's look a little bit closer at the screens here. So, they both have the Carta 1200 screens with 300 ppi. So in theory, they should look the same. As far as contrast goes, like the text seems to look pretty much the same to me, but the background seems lighter on the Clara. I think this just might be an effect of the white border on the Libra. So the Libra is available in white or black, where the Clara is just available in black. When you have a white border, it kind of seems to make the background seem darker. Another difference with the Libra is it has that rotation sensor, so you can flip hands, where the Clara does not. And as you can see here on the handle side of the Libra, it's quite a bit thicker. Then it tapers down on the other side, and it's not quite as thick. So, overall, the weight is a little bit heavier, obviously, with the Libra 2. It's about 45 grams heavier. So, it just comes down to like your personal preference. If you want the larger screen, a little bit heavier, but it's a little bit more ergonomic to hold than the Clara, where you can kind of hold it on the side or by the bottom. So, it's just kind of a personal preference where the design goes. Again, I have the font types laid out the same here. Like I have the same margin settings, tried to get everything matched up so you can just kind of see how the text lays out on the screen. One thing I will note with these comparisons, when I have two devices on the screen at the same time, the camera generally favors the device on the right, so it makes the text look darker. I will flip these two in a bit so you can get a different idea of the text on the Clara compared to the Libra a little bit more accurately. So obviously with the bigger screen, you're going to have like images and maps layout a little bit larger with on the Clara here, but like I said, they both have the same processor. They have the same software. So when it comes down to software, you're not having any difference between these two. Performance is virtually identical as well, as far as loading, turning pages. One cool thing with the Clara or the Libra is you can hold down the page buttons to quickly scan through the pages. So that's one of the advantages of having page buttons. And like I said, the Libra has the rotation sensor, so if you want to flip it over to the left hand, you can do that. And it also has landscape mode, so you can switch over to landscape mode reading. So the Clara, it doesn't have any option for landscape mode. There's no way to rotate the text on the screen. So if you want landscape, you definitely need to get the Libra over the Clara. You can lock that rotation to either be portrait or landscape, so it's not jumping around every time you move the device. But yeah, so that's definitely one advantage for the Libra. You got the landscape mode. So I went ahead and switched the sides here. So the Clara is on the right side, where the camera kind of favors the screen a little bit more. Just kind of get an idea. To me, the text looks the same. Like I said, we'll do a little bit of a close up here. But like the background does look a little bit lighter on the Clara. I think that's mostly just an optical illusion with the black border versus the white border. But I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to compare the Libra, the black Libra, with the Clara 2. But obviously, I only have the white one. But yeah, as you can see close up, the text looks good on both of these devices. We'll go ahead and switch them over again. So obviously, it's just hard for the camera to focus on a full screen of text at one point, but it does favor that right side, like I said. So it always looks a little bit darker on the right side, but for the most part, they both got the Carta 1200 screens. It looks the same as far as like the text goes. Like I said, the background just seems a little bit lighter on the Clara, but that's when you have the front light off. When you have the front light on, it's a different story. So we got them maxed out here. When I'm comparing the front lights on these two, they're very similar, but like the Libra 2 does have an advantage to my eyes. It's very even. I don't notice any like brighter spots, whereas the Clara 2E, it's kind of like the older front lights where you have a little bit of shadow cones at the bottom of the screen. You can't really see them in this video very well, but it just has a little bit more obvious that there's the LEDs at the bottom of the screen on the Clara, where it's really evenly lit on the Libra. So I mean, just kind of one of those things where it can vary from one device to the next. So the tones are just a little bit different as far as the amber tones and the white tones on these two, but it's not like any significant difference, and it tends to vary from one to the next, not just models, but like one device to the next. So front lights, they can kind of be hit or miss, but just quick look with the front lights off and the lower light, and front lights off again and brighter light. But I mean, the Libra does have a little advantage here. It's not a huge difference as far as the front light goes. One minor difference with the software is the Clara 2e has a couple missing font types. There's no Malabar, no Gill Sans. That's the only difference I've noticed with the software. Like I said, they have the exact same software features. Response is the same. Kobo's devices, they're all like uniform as far as the software features go. So, I mean, really no difference as far as that goes. Very few differences, like I said, with the hardware. Like the Clara supporting dual band Wi-Fi and the Libra not. But the Libra has twice as much storage space with 32 gigabytes. Obviously, with the larger screen, stuff like comics is going to lay out a little bit better on the larger screen. But, it's not really that big of a difference, as you can see here. You do get a little bit larger, like text balloons with the Libra, but I mean, it's not a huge difference, probably not as much as you would think comparing 6 to 7 inch screen. So overall, I mean, it's the design that's the biggest difference. Do you want page buttons, or do you want something that's highly portable, easy to stick into a pocket like the Clara? So, I mean, there's a $50 price difference between these two. It's not a huge difference, but I mean, that's pretty significant. Just, larger screen, page buttons on the Libra 2, but same reading experience, basically same performance. So they both have dark mode now. So I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.